It's Wednesday, February 4th, and the time now is 9 p.m. Let's get you all caught up on today's top stories and headlines. You're watching the Daily Rewind.
The partial government shutdown is over after the House approved a funding package yesterday.
It passed in a 217 to 214 vote, mostly along party lines. 21 Democrats voted for the bill and 21 Republicans voted against the bill.
This will keep the government funded through September, but funding for the Department of Homeland Security will run out next Friday. Lawmakers continue to negotiate changes to the agency as criticism grows against ICE.
Judicial warrants are a requirement, not a suggestion. We must have independent investigations to prosecute agents responsible for carrying out abuses. And finally, there needs to be clear guidelines on use of force.
Because remember what the Homeland Security Bill covers. It's not just Immigration Customs Enforcement. It's not just Customs and Border Patrol. It is TSA. It's the agents who keep us safe in the airports and keep air travel moving. It's the Coast Guard. It's Secret Service. It's FEMA.
After the funding vote, President Trump signed the bill ending the partial shutdown.
It continues to fund deportation flights that are removing dangerous illegal aliens from our country. It continues historically successful efforts to reduce crime in our nation's capital. We have a very safe city right now. We have a city that is like a different world from what it was a year and a half ago.
In addition to immigration reform, a growing number of Democrats are also calling for the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, to be impeached.
Congressman Bobby Scott voted against the funding bill and released a statement explaining his decision. He said, quote, "Unfortunately, this bill does nothing to curb the abuses of authority by ICE. We should not fund the government as if nothing is happening. Therefore, I cannot vote for any additional funding to the Department of Homeland Security until at least some credible progress is made to rein in the out-of-control military occupation of our cities." The Virginia Employment Commission just announced Melissa Smith as the agency's new commissioner. She was appointed by Governor Abigail Spanberger. She has more than 20 years of experience in public policy and government leadership and has held senior leadership roles at the White House, U.S. Department of Labor and Commerce, and the Strata. We have a follow-up this morning to a high-profile case. The Clintons agreed to testify in the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. This comes after former President Bill Clinton appeared in files connected to the investigation. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton will testify before the House Oversight Committee on February 26th, and the former president will testify February 27th. Meanwhile, President Trump, who is named thousands of times in the Epstein files, says it is time for everyone to move on.
They thought they released too much. I heard that, and you tell me something else. No, I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else. Really, now that nothing came out about me, other than it was a conspiracy against me, literally by Epstein and other people. But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
Other notable names mentioned in the Epstein investigation include Elon Musk, United States Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, and White House strategist Steve Bannon.
After the president's comments, Senator Mark Warner writes on social media saying there are more than 38,000 references to President Trump and his businesses in the Epstein files. Senator Warner has been calling for the release of the documents, and last year he joined a group of lawmakers to introduce the Epstein Files Transparency Act. It mandates the Department of Justice to publicly release nearly all of the records related to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Since then, more than 3.5 million pages have been published.
Officials in North Carolina are working to curb crime. Law enforcement agencies are teaming up to form the Northeastern Drug Task Force. Their goal is to reduce drug trafficking, drug use, and drug-related crimes. The task force will allow different departments to share information and investigative resources to help prosecute drug offenders.
Just makes it nice that we can get things done together a whole lot better as a family than it is trying to do things piecemeal by yourself.
I'm very particular about making sure every piece of North Carolina is protected. not just the central part, not your Raleigh, your Charlotte, your Greensboro.
To learn more about this task force, head over to wavy.com. A piece of Portsmouth is preparing to fade away. Roger Brown's restaurant and sports bar is closing after 25 years of serving the community. It all began as a dream of former NFL player Roger Brown to create a place where good food and good people come together. The restaurant will be open to the public for the last time this weekend for Super Bowl Sunday.
Another restaurant just closed its doors after serving the community for more than a century. The French Bakery on Granby Street is closed after 114 years in business. It's been a staple in the Riverview neighborhood since the 1940s. It was a family-owned business that was passed down through generations. At one point, the family owned 4 bakeries here in Hampton Roads, and the one on Granby Street was the last to close in Norfolk.
We've had third and fourth generations. Walter Chrysler used to come in here when my father was alive, and he'd buy lobster sandwiches. We were the first ones to have lobster sandwiches. Nobody else did. And then our pastrami sandwich is unique. No one can match it.
It is so sad to see so many restaurants closing. You can read more about the French Bakery over on wavy.com.
Naming rights for the area's newest music venue, the Dome in Virginia Beach. Drone 10 flew above the Oceanfront Concert Hall just recently. You can see that there. Some big acts have already taken this stage. This morning, there was a ceremony to announce the new name. All new at midday. 10 on your sides. Andy Fox is joining us live with the big news. Andy, should we do a drum roll?
Oh, yes, it is a huge day here in Virginia Beach. I'm actually inside the Dome. Take a look. It's just a beautiful venue. And there was an announcement today that the Dome right here will now be the Dome by Rudder Mills. Earlier today, city officials with Live Nation gathered at the Dome for the news conference announcing the name change for the Dome, which includes the name Rudder Mills. The principal partner, Brother Rudder, spoke about the importance of commitment to the community, that this is a venture that builds on the future and making the Dome more than just a building, but a gathering place for the community. The aforementioned Brother Rudder.
Thank you, Annie.
Say it.
The Dome by Rudder Mills.
There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What a great day. Talk to me about the commitment. Why was that important for you to become involved in this?
After 70 years and starting our third generation of leadership at the firm, we wanted to lean more heavily into community partnerships to give back to the communities that we've served for so many years. We show up when things don't go right in people's lives, and now in our new generation, we want to start showing up when things go right. We're excited about the Dome, we're excited about Virginia Beach, we're excited about what this whole project can bring to Hampton Roads. We want to be a part of it.
During your very moving speech, you were remembering your father. Your father, you, and now your 2 sons involved in the practice. What did that mean? What does that mean? What would your dad say?
My dad would be so excited. He started this firm 1 year after the Dome came online in 1958. And so now with the Dome coming back and the new generation there, we always want to build a legacy that he started. And I think we're pretty close. I think he'd look at us and say, well done.
When did you get the feeling that, and you and I are old friends, when you got the feeling and said, I want to be a part of this? Was it your idea?
Yeah, there was so much buzz around Atlantic Park and the surf park and then the Dome. And we started looking back at how iconic the Dome was 60, 70 years ago. And actually, I heard they were looking for a naming rights partner, so I reached out to Live Nation. And we started a meeting and just happened to hit it off. And what happened was our visions were aligned on what this could do for the community. And so we just found a way to make it work.
And now, the Dome by Rudder Mills. Good. Thank you so much. It was a big day. And coming up tonight on Wavy News 10 at 4 and 5, more from Brother Rudder and about how all of this unfolded and what it means for the future, that this is going to be a venue building on the success of the past. And by the way, it is right now being nominated as one of the best new venues of the year. Let me tell you something, a lot of good things happening down here, and I'll have more on that at 4 and 5. Brother Rudder, thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
In Virginia Beach, Andy Fox, 10 on your side.
Well, happy Wednesday. We do have some more winter weather that is in our forecast. We have a winter weather advisory in effect from 6 p.m. today until 7 a.m. Thursday for Southside, as well as a little bit across the peninsula. It looks like Newport News and Hampton is included in there, as well as just down across the border into portions of northeastern North Carolina. We're looking at having some light snow accumulations out there as we do have that winter system that will be moving through. So we are going to be seeing that impacting us as we get into this evening and continuing through the night tonight, clearing out as we get into your Thursday morning. And then as we head into this weekend, we have a potential clipper that could be bringing us a little bit more of a snow chance out there as we get into Sunday night. Doesn't look like anything major for accumulations at least. And with whatever we see falling for snow, should be able to melt. We'll be seeing our temperatures still remaining below normal, but we are going to be seeing them remaining above freezing as we head throughout the next several days. So our temperatures are going to be falling as we head throughout the rest of the day today. As we get into this evening, we'll see those temperatures in the mid-30s, dropping down to about that freezing point as we get into the earlier parts of the night tonight, and eventually dropping down into the upper 20s for your lows. So what that means for us, as the system is moving up to the north, we are going to be seeing eventually this rain transitioning over into snow. So it looks like we'll see that rain moving through northeastern North Carolina through the earlier parts of this afternoon, reaching across the state line as we get into late this afternoon. Here's around 5 p.m. for us. We are going to be seeing that impacting a lot of south side, and then eventually later this evening, seeing that transitioning over into snowfall and impacting portions of the peninsula as well as the eastern shore. As we see the temperatures continuing to drop for the night tonight, we'll see that rain down across northeastern North Carolina, closer to the border, just north of the Albemarle Sound, transitioning over into some of that snowfall. Could be seeing some freezing rain happening right along the Albemarle Sound, so we could have a few slick spots that we're looking at developing there. And then as we get into your Thursday morning, we'll be seeing that system clearing out throughout the day on Thursday, maybe a few lingering snowflakes or a couple of drizzle spots happening out there for us as we're moving through the day on Thursday. So what are we looking at for those totals? A lot of locations picking up a dusting up to an inch, but we are looking at having one narrow band where we could see isolated amounts up to 2 inches. And that's really for south side and right along the immediate state line is what we're looking at for that potential for up to 2 inches. Most of this is going to be on your grassy and elevated surfaces. Potentially those untreated neighborhood roads could see a few slick spots out there. As for the ice, again, maybe a bit of freezing rain around the Albemarle Sounds. You could have a few slick spots out there for your Thursday morning. As we're going to be heading through the next several days, high temperatures stay in those mid to the upper 30s, low 40s. We will be seeing a mix of sun and clouds, so whatever we see falling, we'll be able to have some decent melting potential out there. We do have the chance to see a few snow flurries out there again Friday evening, and then again Sunday night into early Monday morning. Doesn't look like anything major for accumulations with either of those events.
Crime is falling in most Hampton Roads cities. In Virginia Beach, the police chief says that there's been a big drop in violent crimes like assaults and murders, but there's still some work to be done. Then on your side's Michael Rinker crunches the numbers.
Crime in the city of Virginia Beach was down in 2025, according to Police Chief Paul Newdigate. That's been the trend over the last 3 years. Violent crime since 2023 is down 27%. The city of Virginia Beach reported 419 violent crimes in 2025, the lowest in the last 5 years. The murder rate fell 38% since 2023. Rape, assault, and robberies all down as well. Motor vehicle thefts declined by almost 50% since 2022, something Chief Paul Newdigate credits to new tech that reads license plates.
The officers are out there working hard. That camera is scanning all those plates. It's going to alert them to the stolen cars, the wanted individuals, the missing. And then the next wave, Council, when we did implement the fixed flock cameras, you can see that we've had another substantial reduction since then.
During Tuesday's City Council meeting, changing the curfew for minors at the oceanfront was brought up. City Manager Patrick Duhaney mentioned how other cities have pulled the trigger on moving up the curfew.
For example, DC, with the issues they were having at the wharf last year, when they were able to kind of hit a curfew for folks that are under 18 and unaccompanied, they were able to kind of turn that around as well. And some of the cities like Myrtle Beach, they were able to do that last year as well, to kind of turn a corner after they started out with a really bad year.
Chief Newdigate says with spring break, beach week, and the summer around the corner, it's important to focus on the resort areas with a possible 5th precinct.
And many times we are robbing Peter to pay Paul with pulling resources from those other areas during the summer. So yes, I do see a critical need, if we could ever get there, to stand up a 5th precinct that would be resort area based and that we would upstaff it so that we were not forced to pull from the outlying precincts year-round.
You can read a full breakdown of Virginia Beach's 2025 crime report over on wavy.com. In Virginia Beach, Michael Rinker, 10 on your side.
Now to frightening new details about the case of Nancy Guthrie. News Nation's Ashley Banfield reports her son-in-law might be the prime suspect in her disappearance. But police said there is no suspect of interest right now. Guthrie is the mother of NBC's Savannah Guthrie. The 84-year-old was last seen Sunday night after one of her daughters dropped her off at her Arizona home. Officials say her belongings, including her cell phone and wallet, were left behind. Guthrie's Ring doorbell camera is missing, and drops of blood were found on the ground outside near her front door. There are also reports of ransom notes being sent to different media outlets.
If there is an outstanding ransom note and it's real, then they're going to have some back and forth and some negotiation and some serious, deep investigation behind that.
NBC says Today Show host Savannah Guthrie will not be covering the 2026 Winter Olympics in Milan while this investigation continues. Meanwhile, the sheriff is pleading with the public for any information to help solve this case.
Ten on Your Side continues to monitor the flu in Virginia, and right now cases are trending down.
But health officials say this doesn't mean you can let your guard down. 10 on Your Side's Walter Hildebrand explains.
With all the focus on snow and wintry weather lately, we haven't heard much on our old friend, the flu.
So far, by reporting from the Virginia Department of Health, we're staying low and trending a little down. However, in about the last day, just within Centera, we're starting to see a couple of our sites creep back up.
Tracy Odachowski is the Director of Infection and Control with Centera Health. She maintains that despite the lower trends, it's no time to let your guard down with regards to the flu.
Some years we have just one spike and it's over. It might last a few weeks, but then it's kind of done. But there's been many years in the past, including last year, I believe, that we've spiked twice. So it can go kind of either way. It just depends on what is in circulation and how many folks have had their vaccine.
And speaking of vaccines, she says it's not too late to get yours.
It's never too late. It does take 2 weeks for it to be effective, but you can still get them at a lot of your local pharmacies, so it doesn't hurt.
However, if you do find yourself stricken with flu or flu-like symptoms,
stay away from everyone else. So definitely rest, get your fluids. That said, if you start having respiratory symptoms, shortness of breath, a really high fever, or if it's in a child, you might want to be seen in urgent care or the emergency department to make sure it doesn't get any worse, especially if you're very vulnerable.
Walter Hildebrand, 10 on Your Side.
Governor Abigail Spanberger is ending agreements that allowed state police and other state law enforcement to help with ICE immigration enforcement.
Last February, then Governor Glenn Youngkin signed Executive Order number 47, allowing VSP, trooper, and DOC officers to be deputized to help immigration and customs enforcement with immigration operations. On Inauguration Day, Governor Abigail Spanberger rescinded that executive order. Today, she says the agreements putting ICE in charge of Virginia law enforcement officers are over.
Certainly, there is no cause for me to say that any pullback of that 287G agreement has any impact on the ability to keep Virginians safe. And importantly, it means that Virginia state law enforcement have their full attention at the jobs that they were hired to do.
This is, I think, the governor really appealing to the base of her party who are very much opposed to getting criminal illegal aliens out of the state and out of the country. And so this is going to put more people at risk.
It's important to note that localities with agreements to coordinate with ICE are unaffected by Governor Spanberger's actions today.
Now, Virginia Beach is mourning the loss of a 17-year-old girl killed in a car crash. It happened shortly after midnight yesterday on Head River Road, not far from Blackwater Road. Virginia Beach police say the driver was not hurt. Another passenger was injured and is expected to survive. New at 5, 10 of your side's Angela Bohan talked with friends of the teen and joins us live from Head River Road with reaction from the community. And Angela, we know this is a very emotional time.
Absolutely heartbreaking to see these young men and women out here at the crash site grieving. Family and friends tell us the girl who died is Bella Muriel, a Kellam High School student. Today I talked with some of her friends with their parents' permission as a way to honor and remember Bella.
I just wish I could have seen her one more time. Just could have held her for one more minute. And sometimes it's just not the hardest not being able to say goodbye, but it's just hard waking up knowing that she's not going to be in my world anymore.
The pain is undeniable. Family and friends of Bella Muriel are in disbelief. They created a memorial for her, a symbol of the devastation that they're feeling. Virginia Beach police say the driver lost control, went off the road and hit this tree, now decorated with flowers and signs from loved ones. The snow and ice caused Virginia Beach City Public Schools to not hold in-person classes for 2 days, and now students are returning to the classroom, but without their dear friend.
She definitely saved my life a couple of times. She was always there through everything. No matter what she was going through, she was there for you.
And Bella's brother, Rylan, wants everyone to know how kind his sister was and that she was there for others.
No matter what she was going through, she always made anyone else happy, and she was the most unselfish person ever. No one could ever be like Bella, and I wish I had more time with her and to see her smile again and want to walk into my room and talk to me.
Now, Virginia Beach Schools says they cannot comment, but they do have grief counselors available for students and staff during this difficult time. Friends tell me that the school held a moment of silence for Bella. Police are still investigating the crash. They have not said whether the icy, snowy conditions may have played a factor in that. We will have more coming up on Wavy News 10 at 6 o'clock. Live in Virginia Beach, Angela Bohan, 10 on your side.
During the recent cold snap, get a calendar so you can track your cold snaps, where temperatures struggled to rise above freezing for days on end. We saw some small bodies of water freezing.
But it's not every day you see a canal freeze. 10 on your side's Robert Rizzo takes us to Currituck County to show us how crews got the water flowing again.
The currents are strong and the ice is flowing in the waters of the Coinjock Canal that connects the Albemarle Sound and the North River in North Carolina. But that wasn't the case as early as yesterday. Tanya Gardner lives near the canal and shot this video of a barge breaking through the ice that formed in the canal that made the canal impassable.
It was about 2 to 3 inches, even here we were poking it with a shoving pole and it was 2 to 3 inches thick.
JD Robb works at the Coinjock Marina and watched as the barge worked to break up the ice so the boats could once again use the intercoastal waterway.
The barge had a little bit of a tough time getting through. He came in and then he had to back up a little bit and then start going again. Now, if it was a solid sheet, if it was naturally frozen because it wasn't moving and it just got that cold, he wouldn't have made it through, I wouldn't think. You'd have to have an icebreaker out there.
The barge did its job. The ice on top is moving fairly rapidly, and hopefully with the warmer temperatures, it won't freeze over again. In Coinjock, Robert Rizzo, 10 on your side.